Hello, my friends. Welcome to part 6 of BMW Authority Models Bargain or Bust. In this segment, I am going to speak of the end of the R1100 RTP series and the introduction of the R1150 RTP series and the differences between the two. The most striking, of course, is going to be the visual aspects, and that will start with the headlamp. The 1150 got a wider headlamp that casts a more effective beam. And the front fender was also changed to something smaller than the K1 type wrap around most of the front fender that the 1100 RTP had. The mirrors are the same between the two models, as is the windshield. The dash received some changes. Our handlebar switches are different. These were upgraded to the newer style as the rest of the models received. Wheels, of course, are of the 5-spoke type found on the K1200 models. New lighting package with LED lights versus the old incandescent strobe lights. Now we'll get to the drivetrain, the things under the skirt. We'll start with the engine. Of course, it received the 1150 engine, which is not a huge boost in horsepower from the 1100. BMW will claim around 5. It's less than that. Not really noticeable. What is noticeable was the 6-speed transmission. But with this new 6-speed transmission that Geartrag built for BMW came some problems. The 6-speed transmission shifted smoother than the 5-speed, but it had problems. The flywheel was redesigned with the 6-speed transmission, and they moved the clutch forward further away from the transmissions and off of the input shaft splines slightly. This move caused accelerated wear of the splines and early failure to a lot of machines. We're talking about the 1150s here. The biggest difference of all between the 1100 and the 1150 RTPs regarded safety. Safety for the operator of the machine. The first 1150 RTPs were flat out dangerous to the officer on board. BMW tried a new flaky brake system that they decided they'd experiment on us two-wheeled idiots before they stuck it in the cars for the four-wheeled idiots. Motor officers are taught to drag your brakes, slip your clutch to make a tight turn. The problem is BMW linked their new brake system, front to rear, and power assisted.
Yes, that's what I said. Electrically power assisted brakes. So when you apply the brakes,
so you have power brakes now that are linked. If you apply the rear, it applies the front. What happens at low speed with a full handlebar lock when you apply the front brake? Down you go. You fall down. You must also remember BMW's anti-lock brakes do not work under 2.5 miles per hour. So it's not like it's going to go into anti-lock and prevent you from falling on your face. You fall on your face. Enough police departments screamed at BMW. BMW had some recall and made some changes, and they took away the linked system and reverted to individual systems, but they were still servo assisted. These servos, if you followed me for any length of time at all, you know, are not my I don't like them. They're terrible. It's a bad brake system. This was a foolish design idea on BMW's part. Maybe it would work nice in a car. It doesn't belong in a motorcycle. You don't need power brakes in a motorcycle that aren't the same when the power goes away. That's dangerous. Regardless, this system was problematic, and of course for the municipalities, they didn't care. The bikes were under warranty, and afterwards they're gone. They're auctioned off out of their hands, no concern to them, and they fall upon the general public, where you get to deal with BMW's questionable design. So the brakes were changed for the authority models to be individually controlled and not linked, but failure prone. The other safety change I will mention is the side stand. The 1100 side stand had the deployment tang located between the shifter tip and the foot peg. At least here in the United States, motor officers, when they pull somebody over, leave the engine running, they will deploy their side stand and exit the right side of the motorcycle. Of course, when you go to deploy the side stand and the tang is between the shifter tip and the foot peg, and perhaps you are in a heated situation, you got a hot traffic stop, it's pretty easy to bump that shifter tip, and that would put the bike in first gear, and as it lurches forward, officer falls off and the bike falls over on its side. An embarrassing situation, to say the least. BMW corrected that after complaints of a few years and moved the deployment tang behind the foot peg. So that gave it a long arm and prevented the officer from accidentally knocking the transmission into first gear while deploying the side stand. A+ improvement, I say. Stay tuned for Part 7, BMW Authority Models, Bargain or Bust, where I will showcase an R1150RT in the shop with servo failure and some other issues. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to see the material that YouTube will not allow me to post on YouTube, I post that stuff over on my Patreon channel, where you can go check that out and see what can't be seen over here. It's a new world coming. They don't allow us to do much over here like we used to. It's different, you know? You don't know. That's the trouble. People don't know how much things have changed for us YouTube creators. They're fucking squeezing us hard.